episode of
Come On Down
with Rich Fields.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a podcast all about Rich's time in Hollywood. He was on a bunch of game shows, but The Price is Right with Bob Barker and Drew Carey. It's really all about game shows, kind of in general.
Yeah.
Because you were with, 9 different game shows?
I've done 9 different titles, yes.
Wow, that's unbelievable. So it's bells, buzzers, and anything
I love
having
that.
to do with game shows today.
Right.
We promised viewers and listeners that we would talk about why Bob, after so many years of re-signing, longer-term deals, like
Tentatively resigning.
yeah,
He I guess it was in the 90s really that he started. Maybe it was just posturing.
Sure.
The best way to get money is not to sign a long-term deal.
right. Sign a 1-year deal.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And then renegotiate and get a better pay raise.
Sure.
So I don't know if it was posturing or what, but Bob had been doing 1-year deals for, I know of at least 5 years. We'd have to talk to somebody else to find out exactly right. And I don't even know if that information is, we're privy to that kind of info. But
Sure.
When I got there in 2004, the scuttlebutt on the set was, remember I replaced Rod Roddy. He passed away late 03, so I come in, win the auditions, I get the job, and the first thing I hear, one of my very first days from grips and prop guys and cameramen is, oh gee, sorry kid, man. Well, you got here, you're gonna have a couple years with the old man, and at least you got that, because they knew what a fan I was.
Oh wow, that must have been heartbreaking
It
to hear
was.
that, because you had watched him, idolized the guy, and you revered him when you met him.
Exactly right, and I mean I was in my 40s, Dave, but I was a starstruck kid.
But you were almost childlike in your 40s too.
Yeah.
In terms of your excitement about the show.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Excitement about being there,
Yeah.
excitement about achieving a goal that I had my whole life.
Sure.
Excitement about working with Bob. It was a big deal.
And I want to go back to that a little bit later, talking about
Sure.
your youthful exuberance here. But
Well-
let's talk about this. So Bob, was thinking about maybe just sort of these 1-year deals, a series of 1-year deals.
Right. And so I get there and everybody says, oh, this is it, gosh, and I was like, I was mortified, I was crushed.
I bet.
And so we go on hiatus at the end of 04, end of season 32. There's always a wrap party, and Mr. Barker always gives a little speech. And he didn't say definitely, I'm done, this is it, at that party. And that was kind of good news. As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine, Jeff Thisted, who is a production coordinator on the show, and we'll have Jeff on. We're going to have Jeff on in an upcoming episode about
that's great.
about the Price is Right models, because he's the only guy I know of on the stage that married a Price is Right model.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
He married Rebecca Mary, the only redhead, as far as I know, that was on the show.
How about that?
So we're going to have Jeff on one day and get his perspective on what's up. But anyway, Jeff told me, hey buddy, wow, Barker didn't sign off. He didn't at the party.
You really expected him to say something.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that was kind of the open door that, maybe it's not over.
Yeah.
So during summer hiatus, we always have a couple of months off, and they run reruns. It came down that Bob was coming back. Oh, well, everyone was ecstatic,
I
because
bet.
everyone on the show, because any change was seen as the end of the show.
Right.
And
nobody could do the show as well as Bob Barker. Everybody kind of viewed it was his show, and without him, it just couldn't exist.
Yeah, and Drew does a fantastic job. And I don't know if anybody else other than Drew could have come in and carried on like Drew did. But it's not the same. Maybe not Drew's fault. Certainly COVID has come in the last couple of years. That changed the show completely.
He's replacing a legend. I mean, and it's true in all forms of entertainment and news.
Right.
When you come in and replace somebody who is legendary, you're destined not to meet viewers' expectations.
Right, and I don't think they expected him to. They wanted Drew to be his own guy, do his own show, and he has.
Yeah.
So we get into season 33. It goes splendidly. Bob stays. Season 34 goes splendidly.
And was he just doing 1-year deals at that point, or did you?
Well, we didn't know.
Oh.
We kind of thought that's what was going on. So he comes and he does season 35, and toward the end of 35, he announces, I'm retiring. So he did another 3 years after everybody thought in 04, this is it, he's done.
Wow.
And there's a series of pictures I'm going to show you in a second, but I'll just tell you the story real quick. So it's the season 35 wrap party, the season that Bob is retiring in. So we ended up finishing all the regular episodes. All we had left to do was Bob's final show.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a wrap party for season 35, and the cake said 35 and everything, and so on and so forth. And then a few days later, or weeks later, we taped Bob's last show, and then we had another kind of a farewell and congratulations on a retirement party for Bob. So that was a whole nother episode, or a whole nother party, which actually could be a whole nother episode. Some interesting things happened at that particular party. But back to the season 35 wrap party, Bob Barker, he's always the first to cut the cake, and he always gives a little speech. So he gets up there and he says, ding, ding, ding. He hits his glass and he put it down and everything. And he says, everybody, your attention, please. I just want to, before we cut the cake, I don't want to cut into your drinking time. So please continue to drink. Bob was great about drinking.
Yeah.
And
was he a drinker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may have told the story. I don't know. Bob was a wine drinker when I met him.
Yeah.
And I turned Bob to a silver tequila drinker.
Yes, you did say that, as a matter of fact. And wasn't there a particular,
Patron, silver.
Patron. That's what I thought.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Actually, of course he would. He's Bob Barker. He graduated to Grand Patron.
Oh, okay.
Like 150 a bottle.
Sure. I mean, I can't believe he could afford it because he wasn't making much on the show. Well, do you have any idea what he made?
I heard 30.
$30?
$30. $30 a show.
Yeah.
He did it for the love.
Yeah, that's true.
For the love of you.
So when you say 30, for those people at home who don't, 30 million for what period of time?
A year. 30 million a year. Well,
that is great, isn't it?
I might as well let this cat out of the bag right now, because I almost said we'll have to ask Roger Dobkowitz.
Yeah.
If you're viewing this on YouTube right now, or if you're listening, by the way, this is the first show that's going up on regular streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music.
Great.
All your regular...
Welcome.
Yeah, all your regular podcast providers, this show is going to be the first one up. Then they're going to backfill with the other ones we did. They're going to stick them in there. But if you're watching, if you're listening, on June 20th, on Monday, June 20th, our guest right here is going to be Roger Dobkowitz.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's
live.
Great.
Video.
You see, I don't know Roger, but I already love Roger based upon the way you describe him.
Everybody loves Roger.
Really?
Yeah, he's just got a great personality. He's like the sweetest man the sweetest soul. Doesn't matter man or woman. He just has the sweetest soul you'll ever meet. Just he oozes kindness.
Yeah. This is the guy, for those of you who haven't seen previous episodes, this is the guy who, when Rod Roddy died, died. It was announced on a Friday or something like that.
Yeah.
And then on Monday. You call.
Yeah.
You call the Price is Right
offices,
and they put Roger on the phone.
He picked up the phone.
Yeah, to talk to him. He's just he was a weather guy in Palm Springs. But anyway, Roger was kind enough to pick the phone. Hello, Roger. Yeah.
Hi, it's Roger. And when I'm not making fun of him. He just has a particular speech pattern. I love it. So when he's on, you're gonna bust up laughing.
I cannot wait to hear this. And what I do want to ask him when we have Roger on, I want to ask him what he thinks of Rich.
Yeah, I want to hear it too.
Yeah,
I'm going to step out. I'm going to say, hey, Dave, ask all the questions you want of Roger that if I wasn't here, you'd want to know. I'm going to step out, and then later I'm going to watch and see what he had to say.
This will be a bit of an intervention for Richard because this man has been obsessed with this show. I don't know if it's a healthy thing or not a healthy thing.
I don't think it was healthy.
As you sip another
cup
of coffee here.
Yeah, from my Price is Right mug.
Yeah. So let's get back a little bit.
So Bob gets up at the season 35 wrap party before he's going to cut the cake, and he says, I don't want to cut in your drinking time. Continue drinking. But there's just a few things I want to say. I want to thank everybody on the show for 35 years of your blood, sweat, and tears, those of you that have been there that long. And anybody that wasn't, I appreciate your time there. You're an integral part of the show no matter what you did. I've known that for years, and I want to acknowledge that, right here to everybody in this room. And there are probably 200 people. Wow. And that goes from pages. Honestly, everyone was invited, from pages to models to grips to cameramen to just everybody backstage, and including producers, associate producers, the entire staff of The Price is Right, executives from Fremantle, executives from CBS. There had to be 200 people in the room.
So he's good at recognizing those people who didn't get a lot of attention over the years.
And he's giving them a little something, something there. And he says, and I want to thank all of you for that. And everybody claps and everything. And then he says, he's looking out in the crowd and he says, where's Rich Fields? Where's Rich Fields? Hey, come on up here, Rich. And he brings me up, and you're me, I'm Bob, and he puts his arm around me and he says, I want everyone in this room to know that in 2004, I was done. I'd said it many times, but I was done. I was really going to leave. Rod had passed away. They were looking for this new announcer. The show, in his mind, maybe wasn't going to be the same.
Sure.
And he'd done it a long, long time. And Truth or Consequences before that. So he'd been on TV forever.
Yeah.
And he says, I want everybody to know that when Rich Fields came in, his youthful exuberance and excitement for the show reinvigorated me. And in 2004, I signed the first 3-year deal I'd signed in over a decade.
Nobody knew that.
Nobody knew that.
Yeah.
And he said, and it's because of him. I mean, it's weird for me to tell the story because it's about me and it's about Bob giving me accolades. But maybe when we get Jeff Thisted on, you can ask him to recant the story, and I guarantee it's going to be word for word the same. He said, so if you want to thank anybody in this room for the last 3 years, you should thank Rich Fields.
Did Bob ever see anything in you, do you think, that kind of reminded him of himself?
In that speech, he actually said something like, his youthful good looks remind me of a young me. Bob was a very funny guy. He'd say regular words, but he'd say them in such a way, in a certain cadence and punch, that it would be funny.
Yeah.
And everybody would laugh.
Sure.
And I never tried to look like Bob or dress like Bob, but I grew up with Bob, so naturally, I guess, the suit, the tie, the pocket square, all just kind of came natural for me. And I'm going to show you some pictures right now from that party. And I'll try to recant what Bob is saying as it happens. That is Bob and I, or there's Bob getting up in front of the crowd there.
That's not you to the left.
No, that's not me to the left. Yeah. Gabby, the model in the middle, Bart Iskander to the right of Gabby, and there's the cake back there. It says 35 on it, and you can see, there's honestly, in front of Bob, there's like 200 people in front of this room, and he's literally saying, I want to thank everybody for your time and attention. You're all professionals.
Were people crying?
There might have been a few tears, and here is now, he's got his arm around me and saying, it's because of his youthful exuberance, that kept me on the show, and that's why I signed another 3 years. And I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even look and be normal. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
And he continues to go on.
What a thing to say, though, right?
Oh my God, I was flattered and flabbergasted at the same time.
I bet.
So this is a menagerie of a bunch of pictures taken by a bunch of different people. I want to thank Eddie Rainier, Jeff Thisted, my wife Christine, all their different cameras. I was able to get all these different shots.
That's fantastic.
And right here, let me see if I can stop this real quick. Right here, somebody Bob is giving me all these accolades, right? And it's almost embarrassing for me.
Sure.
I mean, literally, I can barely look at Bob and accept it. It's just so all-encompassing. Oh my God, he's giving me all this credit?
Wow.
So right here, somebody in the back yelled out, hey, what about the day he gave away the Corvette by mistake? And so that's what was yelled there. And this is me going, oh, why'd you have to bring that up?
So tell me, what is the Corvette story? Tell me about that.
Oh, man.
I mean, because we should talk about it, right?
All right.
I mean, this is tough love.
This is tough love.
This is part of your intervention.
So, I'll try to truncate this as much as I can.
Maybe we can do an episode later.
I don't know if it's a whole episode, but so we're doing The Price is Right. It's a Bob show, and I'm reading off this copy for this Corvette. Bob says, you could win this. And they open the door, how do you car? And it's a, 2007 Chevy Corvette convertible, power steering, power brakes, power windows, and all the comforts of a Corvette, 8-cylinder, blah, 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 blah. Retail value, $57,860.
Yeah. Oh.
Bob?
You just gave away.
And Bob was like, hold tape. Stop tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you just give the price of the car? Oh, I about crapped my pants, Dave. I looked down at the copy. I said, yeah, Bob, and I held up my script. I said, it's right here.
Yeah.
It's in the. But in retrospect, we never gave away the price of a car. Yeah. Why I read that? Well, hey, number one, we got through rehearsal that way.
Yeah. Oh, you said it in rehearsal?
I had to have. It was on the script. So Bob looks at me, and I said, Bob, I didn't mess it up. It's right in the script.
It's not me. It's the script.
Boy, he shot me.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, and everything just sunk in my body. I thought, oh my God, I've just done it. I've just killed myself with Bob Barker.
Right, you're just disappointed.
I am done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I may have kept my job after that, but
sure.
I mean, in his mind,
sure.
I was out, and we were very friendly.
Yeah.
I mean,
at that point, he was probably rethinking, why did I sign a 3-year deal?
He probably was. So, after shooting me this dirty look, he puts his mic down, and the tape stopped, and he goes over to the producer's table, and I see him over there talking with Roger Dobkowitz and Kathy Greco. And Bob stands there with his...
So there's an audience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so Roger comes scurrying across the stage to the podium, and he says, where's the copy? Yep, that shouldn't have been there. Okay, all right. And he walks back over to Bob, and I see Roger's hands and pointing to me. And,
right.
And I can only imagine what was being said.
Sure.
And I'm so foggy on the details. Again, on the 20th, we're going to have to ask Roger.
He'll remember it?
I'm sure he will. Roger remembers everything. Bob comes out, and he says to the audience, well, we just made a big mistake.
This isn't on...
This is not on the air yet. We haven't come back to tape yet. As you well know, Rich read the price of the car, and there's only one thing we can do. All right, Cowboy, let's go. Cowboy's the nickname for Bart Eskander, the director. Uh-huh. So Bob says in his mic, okay, Cowboy, let's go. All right, stand by, everybody. Stand by. Here we go. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. Light comes up. Well, I believe Rich Fields just gave the price of the car, Tammy. There's no game to be played here. You won the car.
What did she do?
Flipped out. Flipped out. Because when there's a mistake made on the show, you have to favor in the side of the contestant.
Sure. And again, this is overseen by the California Gaming Commission.
Oh, so many people.
I wonder if they had to consult the Gaming Commission.
No, because... Standards and Practices is always there at the show. There's always a rep there from Standards and Practices. But, and that's a CBS person. So I'm sure there was a quick thing like, hey, look, the production company screwed up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up tape. Bob's going to say, gosh, Rich just made a huge mistake, and we're going to give him the car. Are you okay with that? You're okay with that? You're okay? Okay, let's go. Stand by. Here we go.
Do you have a copy of that show?
I don't. I don't even know if I want to see it, frankly.
Frankly, we do want to hear from all of you out there too. So if you have an opportunity, maybe you don't want to see it, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah, sure, for you. But
maybe Roger can talk about. Yeah, I bet it was. You kind of saw your.
It was a dark day on The Price is Right.
I bet.
For me.
What happened afterwards?
Well, I went home. I told my wife. I said, I think I'm out with Bob Barker. What? What do you mean? And I tell Christine everything. Just number one, to purge it off my soul.
Of course.
Number two, to give her a little of the Yanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what we're doing here. This is a confessional.
It is. It really is a confessional. So we go through the weekend. We always had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. This was on a Wednesday. It was the last show of the week. Second show on Wednesday, and so I had to torture through 4 days of being off.
Oh no!
Not a phone call from anybody. Yeah. No Roger, no Kathy.
Nobody's saying I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Nobody saying don't worry about it. Key, very key. So Monday morning, we come back in, and I am just waiting for a moment to make eye contact with Mr. Barker. I'm trying to see where he's at personally. So I'm trying to grab him. Or not grab him, I'm trying to get time with him before the show. Yeah. Maybe as he's walking in with his Cubs, duffel bag and his suits, I thought that's really a kind of good time to get him, because after that it gets crazy. Well, he comes walking in with a couple Fremantle people, and they're all talking to him, and I couldn't get to him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until right before our first show of the day that I was coming out of my dressing room, and Bob happened to be coming out of his, and I said, "Good morning, Mr. Barker." "Well, good morning, Rich. How are you?" And as soon as he said that, like every other day, I thought, wait a minute. Is this all wiped clean from Bob?
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what, the best way to handle this is just straightforward. I said, "Bob, I really apologize about Wednesday." "Oh, it wasn't your fault, and I didn't mean to kill the messenger."
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I said, "Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. Just do a good job like you always do. Just go out there and kill him. You know, I hear the music playing," he said. So when the music started, that was my cue to get out there and start doing warm up. And he,
Wow.
and so
That
it
must
was
have
the
been like
weight of the world.
weightlifting.
Oh, Dave, you don't
Yeah,
even know.
yeah.
It's just crazy.
So here's a guy, thought about leaving, but extended for another 3 years. Yeah. And was this within that 3-year period?
This was, yes, it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember which year it was. It wasn't
Yeah.
32. It wasn't
Yeah.
the end of Rods that I finished. It was either 33 or 34. I don't think it was the last season, 35, unless it was really early in the season. I don't remember it being near his retirement.
Yeah.
I remember it being, somewhere in the first couple of years of that 3-year deal with me. So, yeah, it was crazy. So back to the photo real
let's
quick.
look.
So somebody yelled out, "What about when he gave away that Corvette?" I was like, "Oh, why'd you have to bring that up?" And Bob says, "As a matter of fact, that's right. Rich is still paying that off. He's paying in increments of $100 a week, and over the course of the next 57 years,
Yeah.
he should have that paid off for us. And good luck to you, Rich." You know what I mean?
That's one of those great kind of folklore stories about The Price is Right. Had anybody ever given away a prize by accident like that?
Yeah, models have made mistakes before.
Okay.
Models have dropped the reveal, have dropped the price tag on things before accidentally. Sure, a lot of stuff's been given away.
This was a big price
This
tag.
was big.
Yeah.
I'm sure cars had been mistakenly given away, but this was a big one.
Yeah.
This was a $57,000 brand new
Corvette.
cherry red, beautiful.
Yeah, well, you're still, even though Bob Barker forgave you, you haven't forgiven yourself.
I guess I really haven't. You know what I mean?
Even when I suggested that maybe somebody out there has the videotape.
I don't wanna
you're
see
like,
it.
"Oh, I don't want to see it."
Give me the show number. I'll clear it with CBS. CBS is, by the way, CBS, for those of you watching or listening, they've reached out to Dave and I, and they are thrilled with what we're doing.
Yeah.
They've pledged their entire support behind the podcast, so much so that if we need whole shows cleared
Sure.
to be able to show segments on this podcast,
That's awesome.
they're ready to do it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
If we need if we need photographs taken by official CBS photographers. Only CBS photographers have the killer stuff.
Sure.
So they said, "Look, you tell us what you want. We'll get it cleared for you. Just give us a week or two ahead of time, and we'll get those to you."
Well, everybody loves bloopers, but the person who's responsible for them doesn't necessarily like them as much.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Everybody wants to be on Ridiculous, with Rob, but when you're the one on, you don't want to do it. So,
Understood.
So we're laughing and we're going back and forth, and then Bob finally says, "All right, enough of that. I know you want to get back to your drinks.
Look at the cake.
Let's cut the cake."
Is that, what is that?
Yep, it's multicolored. It says season 35 in the
Cool.
middle.
Cool. It almost looks like Wheel of Fortune, doesn't it?
Don't let Bob hear you say that. And do you remember the things I brought in from my birthday cake, the little things
course.
stuck in them?
Of
Well,
course.
they always adorn the cakes with some kind of goodies. See the stars on it and so on and so forth. And there's Bob after the knife. By the way, that knife,
Looks like he's coming after you.
that
This is
knife.
what you get for
Where's
having
Rich
given away
Fields?
a
Where's
car.
Rich Fields?
That's
No,
right.
he didn't. He actually, he got done cutting the cake, and my buddy Eddie Rainier, who's in charge of everything over there at CBS now, all the guys in back, Bob pretended to stab Eddie.
Oh, gee.
If you can think about this, and why I don't have any photos of that, I don't know, but I think Eddie might. He pretended to stab Eddie with his knife, and Eddie feigned getting stabbed, and he flapped backwards on the floor, and everybody who was kind of watching out of their eye thought, "Oh my God, did Barker just stab that dude?"
Yeah. Well, you saw what he did in Happy Gilmore. He got tempered.
So, nonetheless, he was handing it to somebody else, and this is just moments later, after everything is said and done. My wife said, Mr. Barker, can I get one last photo with you and Rich?
What a great shot.
And he is, just look at his eyes, his mouth, everything. Yeah. There's no animosity. There's no, there's no angst about me.
Right.
He really did. He loved me, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
And, it's amazing this whole full circle. So you worked with him from when to when?
Season 32 through 35. So I finished off 32. I did probably 3-4 months.
What years were that?
That would have been 2004.
2004.
Beginning of 04. Rod passed away end of 03.
Yeah.
So they had some interim sub-announcers in there, just, fill in shows till they could figure out what to do. And one of which was Burton Richardson, who did Family Feud.
No kidding.
Family Feud,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
And Burton regularly filled in on The Price is Right. Burton, I missed one Price is Right show in my entire tenure, whether it was Bob Barker or Drew Carey. I missed one show.
Why did you miss it?
Laryngitis, and it was Bob's last Christmas show of season 35.
You must have been crushed.
I was sick. I wanted to do it. I came in that day knowing I'm not going to make it through 2 shows today. And I did the first one, and the second one was going to be the Christmas show.
Right.
And I couldn't even speak. And I went downstairs and I told them, I said, I don't think I can do it. And they were like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I can do it. And then we're honestly maybe an hour and a half from showtime.
Wow.
Right.
So they had to scramble.
Right. And there was a couple of guys they could pull from. Randy West was one. Burton Richardson was another one. I think Art... I'm sorry, Art. I just can't.
Most of these people gone now, or are they still around?
They're still out in Hollywood. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still out in Hollywood working, doing things, live shows, pilots, things like that.
Yeah.
Game shows aren't. They're not what they were. They're not producing a lot of new game shows.
Yeah.
So,
Why is that?
frankly, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I mean, everybody loves a good game show.
Yeah. Guess we can talk to Roger about that, right?
Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
He would know. He would
Yeah.
know the trends and the reasons why and things like that. But.
Sure.
Yeah, just crazy. I want to bring this up. When we showed the behind the scenes the other day,
Right.
I told you a story about Zelda, the mannequin on the stage.
Sure.
That we took white balance from her white collar and
It's
the
just
white.
to balance the color.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and she had a colored sweater on,
Yeah.
and this used to be a real woman back in the day. Apparently,
Who would
according
just sit there.
according to Ed Nelson,
Yeah.
who would just sit there while cameras and technicians lined up on her. Well, a viewer, gosh, and I'm sorry I didn't write his name down. I apologize for that. Sent me this
Wow.
that they found on the internet. That's Charles Nelson Riley
Yeah.
on Match Game with Zelda in his lap.
That is so crazy, isn't it? Does he explain who Zelda is?
I don't know what he said during this particular episode, but certainly I'll just remind you that, all these game shows were shot on Stage 33, so, the same production company used all their same
I
equipment.
see.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, so it makes total sense, but it's pretty cool just to tie that up a little bit.
Yeah, we should mention here that if anybody out there is listening and wants to send us a question or send us a message or whatever, Rich is the man with all the knowledge here. He can answer anything you want. So please keep those coming.
And we have a couple. We're going to start ending, I think, each show with a couple of questions. There were just so many.
Right.
On that podcast we did about viewer questions, and we couldn't even get to them all.
Right.
So I thought, you know what, let's start doing a couple at the end of every show.
Love
And I
it.
think you have one here from,
Okay, this is from David St. Dennis.
yes.
So this is a question for next episode. He says, if you had to pick 3 favorite TPIR pricing games, what will it be? David St. Dennis, thank you.
Wow, great question.
Doesn't David St. Dennis sound like a radio name?
I'm David St. Dennis, CKLW, first in the Motor City with 2020
2020
news.
news.
Oh, you know CKLW?
I do. Byron McGregor, CKLW.
Oh my God, Byron
2020
McGregor. Oh, their news headlines were just so graphic, you know what I mean?
A Tuscany.
Three ewes were burned in the backyard over the weekend when the barbecue blew up. That more details next. You know what I mean? Just crazy. I lived in Cleveland, so
Sure, yeah.
so at night they would go directional.
Another Buckeye here listening to, yeah.
They would go directional at
Right.
night. If you were near the lake, you could get them all the time.
Sure.
But at night they would go directional and shoot south into the United States.
Sure,
And
sure.
oh man, flamethrower, CKLW.
Yeah, it was different. It was a different time. It's not for everybody's ears. But yeah. Okay, so if you had to pick 3 favorite TPIR pricing games, what will it be?
Definitely Plinko.
Yeah.
I think
That's kind of everybody's favorite, right?
Well, yeah, and rightly so.
Right.
My other favorite, and I'm not doing these in any order of appearance.
Okay.
My other favorite was Safe Crackers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Safe Crackers, if you remember, it was a great big safe door, and you had to come up with a
remember.
combination out of various pricing, various little prizes. You had to come up with a combination and turn the locks.
Yeah.
And then Bob would say, give it a spin, did it open? Give it a spin, did it open? Ding, 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 ding. And they'd open it wide, and there'd be all these prizes back there. So Safe Crackers was always one of my favorites. And then third, I would have to say, it's really a toss-up. Shell Game, I love Shell Game. Three Strikes, I love Three Strikes. But definitely the two top ones for me were Plinko and Safe Crackers.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed those a lot.
Was it just because you like watching the contestants play it, or what was it?
Safe Crack, yes. On both Plinko, I mean, it's just so interesting. That puck can go anywhere.
Right, and as you mentioned one of our previous episodes here, there really is no real strategy to it. You can, it just kind of goes where it goes.
Right, and it has to be that way.
Right.
Again, for the standards and practices and the Gaming Commission and everybody else, it has to be by chance.
Who invented Plinko? I want to ask Roger that.
There you go.
Yeah.
We need to write these down. These are great questions. All right, so we got another question here.
Just saw the first podcast. Look forward to more. Did not know you were at 10.
I don't know what that means.
Maybe 10 game shows.
Oh.
Yeah. Just one question for you, Rich. What do you think about the man who replaced you, George Gray?
I've never met George. I've never had any interaction with him. I mean, I don't know him.
Sure.
I saw him on TMZ one night, and it was video of one of those Starline tour buses where they see Hollywood homes.
Yeah.
And it was on Sunset Boulevard, and it was the view from somebody in the bus shooting out to a car that had pulled up next to them in the street. And there was George Gray with a fedora on and a big cigar and some girl in the car. It was a convertible, and he was yelling, "Come on down, come on down." And I think the tour guide said, "Oh, I think that's the announcer of The Price is Right." And he was, trying to get attention apparently, and kind of, but that's really all I know about George.
Everybody brings their own style. I mean, even though you idolized Rod Roddy
and Johnny,
you brought your own. You brought your own style.
I hope so. Everybody says, Rich was kind of a mix between Rod and Johnny, and that's absolutely
that's a real compliment.
A compliment to me. I mean, not that I was trying to do it, but again, I grew up with Johnny, and if you were to listen to us side by side, you'd say, no way.
Right.
Johnny's Johnny. If you listen to Rod and I side by side, you'd be like, no. Rod Roddy was Rod Roddy.
Your clothes were a little less colorful than Rod Roddy's.
And if you missed that episode, go back and look at it. Dave,
oh my gosh.
Dave wore one of Rod's jackets.
Yeah, it was,
What do you think it was, a 48 short?
I don't know.
It was a big jacket. Was like a 50 long.
It was a big jacket.
It was huge.
Yeah, but colorful.
Yeah, very much so.
They all were. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, another one here. Larry Hansen, who controls the opening and closing of the three doors? Thanks, Larry.
Well, ultimately, the opening and closing of the three doors is at the call of the director.
Oh, okay, sure.
Bart Eskinder up in the booth, ready, open door 3, and Bob would say, "You can win this, open," and then backstage, everybody takes their cues.
Right.
But the people backstage are led by this guy on the left. That's Doug Quick. Doug was the backstage backstage manager for the entire time I was there, and I think he stayed on for a couple of years after.
You look surprised this photo's being taken. Yeah.
This is taken from Ed Nelson's backstage video the morning of Bob's last show.
Oh, there you go.
And the guy next to him, Bobby Chick, was on the show forever. I'm guessing 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Also retired the year Bob retired. But Doug Quick on the left, he's the guy that would be backstage. See the guys with their arms folded back there? He'd be the guy backstage with a headset on, listening to Bart Eskinder saying, open doors. And Doug would give the cue, open, and then the guys would pull the ropes that open the doors.
I mean, it's so interesting. This kind of manual.
All manual.
This isn't some high-tech operation. It's very low-tech.
They're massive doors, and they're very heavy.
Yeah.
Massive wooden doors. Very,
Did you ever
very
get hurt doing that?
I think doors have fallen off before, not during a show, but pulling them out and prior and setup and stuff. I think guys have gotten hit.
Right.
A model once slammed into the doors. I think it was Rachel Reynolds, Shane Sterling, Rachel Reynolds. I can't remember. one of the models was driving out a car, and you could win this, a new car, and they give it a big shove from the side stage.
Yeah.
And, she's,
Kaboom.
Bob's out there, and the camera's out there, and she's, ah. Well, she went to hit the brake and hit the wrong pedal.
Yeah.
And the car didn't stop, and it slammed into door 3 and literally moved the entire massive door, which, I mean, Dave, they're huge. Yeah. And there were guys standing backstage, and it broke a guy's foot backstage.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
well,
all kinds of stuff have happened.
We see all that kind of thing. Well, this is great. Well, let's see, is this another question we have?
This is from Eric Ziegler.
Okay, Eric Ziegler. Have you heard any rumors or facts about TPIR being canceled? Oh. You're not.
No, I'm just giving you that. Quite the contrary, as a matter of fact. I just found out that, Television City had been sold.
Yeah.
And a new company has come in, and they are literally redoing all of Television City.
Oh.
Every studio, every hallway, everything, the sound system, the lighting, everything. They're going to continue to lease it out as a 4-wall. A 4-wall is just a rentable, leasable studio. So they're going to continue to lease it out as a 4-wall production facility. And in the interim, or as all this was going down, I was just recently told, I think Ed Nelson told me this, the CBS cameraman who gave us the video. Fremantle Media bought a defunct studio in Glendale, California.
Oh.
And they, I mean, old school, kind of like Desilu, like wood.
Sure. Wow.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah.
A wooden, like old school kind of place. And don't hold me to that. I'm not sure if that's true. But anyway, Fremantle Media, who owns The Price is Right.
Roger will know this.
Roger will know. Fremantle owns not only Price is Right, but every Goodson game show in the catalog. I believe Let's Make a Deal has already moved out to the Glendale studios.
Wow.
They're already taping there, and The Price is Right is moving as well.
Wow, so that says something about the future.
Yes, exactly right. Whether or not Fremantle Media decides to go back to Television City is another story, because it's going to be a brand new facility at top dollar, and now they own their own.
Yes.
But one of the reasons why it never moved over the years was the storage problems. Sure. The prizes and the cars and the boats.
You need a lot of space.
There's massive warehouses with cars in them, massive warehouse with boats in them and prizes. I mean, so unless they have that kind of room out there, and you know what, the show has changed. What am I saying this for? The show has changed, and I don't think they're doing these big prizes like anymore. They're more they're more like trips.
You spoiled it. You gave away a car. They don't have the budget for it anymore.
I broke the budget. Rich Fields, the decline of The Price is Right. Single-handedly ruined The Price is Right.
Yeah, that's why they're giving away cans of soup now.
Oh, my God.
Boy, thanks for the questions. We really appreciate those questions coming. Do we have something out here? I want to let you know that if you're listening to this episode on your traditional podcast provider, that's like Apple Music or maybe Spotify, you can see most of the photos shown on today's show and previous episodes by going to our Facebook page. And here is the Facebook page right here. It is facebook.com/Come On Down Podcast. Again, that's facebook.com/Come On Down Podcast. Please keep your questions coming. Take a look there and see what you think. There's a lot of really fun stuff. We've had a lot of fun episodes, and we've got a lot more coming your way, don't we, Rich?
Indeed, we do. Roger, as a matter of fact, the Roger Show, we do this show live, as folks know, on YouTube.
Yes.
The Roger Show, I'm going to tell everybody up front right now, is going to be recorded.
Okay.
Not because Roger didn't want to be live. He was all for it. Roger has prior commitments on Mondays.
Okay.
And so we are going to tape Roger on Tuesday, the 16th, I believe, is the date.
Okay.
So Dave just gave you the Come On Down Podcast site.
Right, facebook.com/Come On Down Podcast.
Go there, and right now where you see some of today's photos already posted, at the very top, you're going to see a picture of Roger Dobkowitz. Underneath that picture of Roger Dobkowitz, just start listing your questions for Roger.
Oh, that's awesome.
Everything you want to know. I just want to check on the date real quick. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's the 14th.
Okay,
Tuesday the 14th.
Tuesday the 14th.
We're going to tape Roger.
Okay.
And that episode will air on Monday the 20th.
Monday the 20th. Okay.
So we need your questions, comments, suggestions for Roger.
Yeah, no later than maybe 13th or morning.
Yeah, exactly, because then we can get them on the air and kind of try to service everybody that's involved.
That's awesome. Well, this has been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah, we got more coming up next week, too.
We do. And for the folks on Spotify and Apple, again, remember what Dave said, we show a lot of pictures and videos, so always go to the 10 Tampa Bay YouTube page, and you can get everything there, okay?
Yeah, there's a ton of it. This guy is a hoarder from an early age. He's got so much stuff. We'll be sharing it with folks, right?
We sure will.
All right. Well, we hope you join us next week for another episode of
Come On Down!
Thanks for tuning in to Come On Down with Rich Fields. See more photos and videos mentioned on this episode. Plus, interact with Rich on Facebook at facebook.com/ComeOnDownPodcast or on Twitter at ComeOnDownPod. Have a question for Rich? Use Facebook Messenger to connect on our Come On Down Podcast Facebook page. And remember, new episodes are live every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern.